We'll be starting shortly. My voice is like, you should get one. Are we expecting more people or this is it? Yeah, right? Is it all that? Yeah, perfect. Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order at 10:06. Before we get into the full meeting agenda for the April 17, 2025 Chicago Plan Commission meeting, I want to quickly provide guidance to those who want to provide testimony on the cases presented for public hearing today. A few of you may have already submitted forms electronically, but for anyone else who may wish to testify before the Plan Commission, please fill out sheets located on the table where you enter the room. Please include your full name, address, if you're for or against the proposal, and if you are here representing yourself or an organization. Please hand your sheets to one of the staff members. People who have completed forms will be called on after each item is presented. Thank you. Out of respect for other speakers, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please line up at the microphone behind me and to my left in the order I call your name, and please do not repeat comments that have already been made by previous speakers. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session of the staff or the applicant, but an opportunity for attendees to voice their opinions on a particular proposal. Out of respect for others, please do not interrupt or disrupt the speakers. Any individual who disrupts the presentation or any subsequent comment session may be asked to leave the council chambers or, if necessary, may be escorted out by security. We will now call the roll. Commissioner Barclay? Not here. Commissioner Boatright? Thank you. Commissioner Brooks? Not here. Commissioner Brumfield? Thank you. Commissioner Burnett? Not here. Commissioner Carney? Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda? Thank you. Commissioner Dowell? Not here. Commissioner Flores? Here. Commissioner Johnson? Not here. Commissioner Cadaquia? Thank you. Commissioner La Espada? Not here. Commissioner Lyons? Thank you. Commissioner Murphy? Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramirez Rosa?
Present.
Thank you and welcome. Commissioner Reyes?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Soto? Not here. Commissioner Sicho Lopez? Not here. Commissioner Esposado? Not here. Commissioner Tillman? Not here. And Commissioner Villegas? Not here. Okay. We will now approve the minutes from the March 20, 2025 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting. The minutes were distributed prior to today's hearing. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission held on March 20, 2025? Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Boatright. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you by Commissioner Piñeiro. Roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright, can you confirm? Thank you. Commissioner Brumfield? Thank you. Commissioner Carney? Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores? Yes. Commissioner Cadaquia? Thank you. Commissioner Lyons? Abstain. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro, can you confirm?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramirez Rosa?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes? Thank you. Motion passes. Reminder, we will take public comments for the items on the agenda after each item has been presented. If you have not already done so and you wish to speak on an item, please complete a testimony slip available at the table just outside of the room. Staff members are available to assist if needed and will collect the forms from you. Now we will move on to the public hearing presentation portion for matters submitted in accordance with the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance and/or the Chicago Zoning Ordinance. The first item today is listed as D1. a proposed amendment to residential business plan development number 1379 submitted by Ravenswood Landowner LLC for the property generally located at 4726 through 4756 North Ravenswood, 1801 through 1831 West Lawrence, 4721 through 4759 North Wolcott. The applicant proposes to amend Plan Development Number 1379 to add the medical service use as a permitted use within Subarea B. No other changes are proposed. Subarea A and Subarea C will remain unchanged. This is item 22693, and it's in the 47th Ward. Yandi Wong will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Good morning. For the record, my name is Yangdi Wang, an urban designer with DPD. This proposed development is generally located at 4726 to 4756 North Ravenswood Avenue, 1801 to 1831 West Lawrence Avenue, 4721st to 4759 North Wolcott Avenue, and is located within the Lincoln Square community area within the 47th Ward. The applicant, Ravenswood Landowner LLC, and their development team appear here today to propose an amendment to planned development 1379 for the subject site. The applicant proposes to amend residential business planned development number 1379 to add the medical service use as a permitted use within Subarea B. Subarea A and Subarea C will remain unchanged. There are no proposed changes to the size and bulk of the existing buildings and the improvements. The proposed development is located in the Lincoln Square community area, which has an estimated population of 42,271 and a median age of 36. The site is located at the intersection of West Lawrence Avenue and North Ravenswood Avenue. It's adjacent to the Ravenswood Station on the Metro Union Pacific North Line and within walking distance of the Damon Station on the CTA Brown Line. Planned development 1379 was originally adopted in 2017 to establish a residential business planned development with 3 suburbs. The development has been built out. The site was zoned B3-3 Community Shopping District prior to establishment of planned development 1379. The surrounding land use is characterized by a mix of residential, commercial, and light industrial uses. The area includes mixed-use buildings, single-family homes, 2 flats, multi-family residence, and various commercial properties. I'll now turn the presentation over to the applicant team to present the details of the proposed amendment.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Meg George, an attorney with the law firm of Ackerman LLP. I'm here today on behalf of the applicant, Ravenswood Landowner LLC, in connection with this amendment to the plan development. Present with me are Rick Filler, the president and COO for Harlem Irving, the majority owner of the applicant, and my colleague, Matt Ali. This plan development was originally approved back in 2017 and was divided into sub-areas, totaling approximately 145,000 square feet. The specific sub-area we're here to talk with you about today is Subarea B, which is approximately 56,000 square feet and includes 112 dwelling units and 67 parking spaces with ground floor retail. The other 2 sub-areas include Subarea A, which is a Chase Bank, and Subarea C, which has 55 residential units and 35 parking spaces. The plan development originally allowed for several uses, including residential, retail, personal service, and massage. However, it did not include medical uses. Since the time of this PD, the retail landscape has changed, and now many medical uses are looking to be placed in mixed-use retail. Our client is looking to amend this PD in order to allow for medical uses to be allowed in this specific sub-area. Sub-areas A and C will remain unchanged. And here are some contextual views of the sub-area. The first is the northeast corner of Subarea B. You can see Lawrence to the right on this slide. It's to the north of the building. This view is the northwest corner of Subarea B. Again, Lawrence is on the north, which is on the left hand in this photo, and you can see the new Colectivo coffee in the retail space. The Alderman has met with Alderman Martin's office, as well as the Greater Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce and the Ravenswood Neighbors Association Zoning Committee, and all have indicated their support or no opposition. We have provided the commission with letters of support from the Alderman, as well as the Greater Ravenswood Chamber of Commerce. I will now hand it back over to the department, and I would like to thank them very much for their work with us on this project. It's hard to believe it was 8 years ago that Noah and I were originally working on this one, so glad to be back, and thank you.
For the record again, my name is Yang Wang with the Department of Planning and Development. DPD has reviewed the proposal submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposed amendment to planned development 1379 would be appropriate for the following reasons. The proposed amendment complies with the planned development standards and guidelines. The proposed amendment is compatible with the character of the surrounding area. Public infrastructure facilities and city services will be adequate to serve the proposed development at the time of occupancy. A letter of support from Alderman Martin is on file. Please refer to my staff report for further details regarding this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, it's a recommendation of the zoning administrator of DPD that this proposed amendment to planned development number 1379 be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards as such. DPD staff and the representatives from the applicant team are here today to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang. We do have one speaker signed up to speak on this item. Mr. George Blakemore.
It's the reason why you just said one speaker. I'm gonna sign up for all 6 of these items. It is a reason why you only have one speaker. You're not educating your constituent. You're not informing your constituent. When you know better, you do better. It's just a little in-house, and especially the Black community. They're not here. And that's why you can't control this machine called the Democratic machine. Go blue, go red, flip red, go black. This is the why our communities look like they look. I think we got one or two on this committee, Black people. See, I'm looking at race. Just because you have a Black owned these committees, that means that they're informing and educating their constituents. I signed up for all of these. Every one of them. I'm going to pop right up and speak on the behalf of the community. Since the people not here, I'm here. I said, look right over there. Is this Alderman Rosa? They just left the city and over at the Park District. He's on here. See, I'm not new to government. I've been to these dog and pony shows, this commission, many times, and I've never been greeted with respect. But they see me and they listen to me. Where are our people? Why am I so unique here? 1, 2, 3 Black. And when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. And these LLC, who owns them? And what is the medical? Is that going to be hemp or what's going to be sold there? And I couldn't even hardly understand you while you was reading. Your English wasn't very good. And I couldn't fully understand you.
I will stop you. I will stop you right there. Do not, this is not a forum to offend any of the presenters. I will remind you of that. Thank you. Sorry about that. Do the commissioners have any comments or questions for the staff or the applicant? No? Yep. Commissioner?
Yeah, can the applicant share with the full commission the timing to occupy the space for the medical user?
We are currently finalizing another quick serve restaurant next to Collectivo that people will be very excited in that neighborhood. And then next to that, this medical use is for a signed lease with a dentist. And so I would anticipate that the lease is negotiated and signed subject to this approval. So I would say build out would start within the next 60 to 90 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? No? Okay. And I know we do have a letter of support from Alderman Martin, so that's been recorded. So if there are no more questions or comments, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion on this item. Do I have a motion on a proposed amendment to Residential Business Plan Development Number 1379 submitted by Ravenswood Landowner LLC for the property generally located at 4726, 47 through 4756 North Ravenswood, and 1801 through 1831 West Lawrence, and 4721 through 4759 North Wolcott, finding that it meets the requirements for approval? Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Piñeiro and second by Commissioner Boatright. I'll do the roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright, can you confirm? Thank you. Commissioner Brumfield? Thank you. Commissioner Carney? Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, yes. Commissioner Cadaquia? Thank you. Commissioner Lyons? Thank you. Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Ramirez Rosa? Stepped out. Commissioner, I think that's, Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody else? I don't think so. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item today is listed as D2, a proposed Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance application submitted by Urban Edge Group LLC 514 for the property generally located at 514 West Aldine Avenue. The property is zoned RM5 and is within the private use zone of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection District. The applicant proposes to construct a 4-story residential building with 4 dwelling units and 4 vehicular parking spaces. This is Lakefront item 791, and it's in the 44th Ward. Lewis Clayton will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Good morning, Chairwoman Flores and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Lewis Clayton with the Department of Planning and Development. The subject property is located at 514 West Aldine Avenue in the Lakeview Community Area in the 44th Ward. The applicant, Urban Edge Group LLC 514, and their development team appear here today to request approval of Lakefront Protection Ordinance Application 791 to construct a 4-story residential building with 4 dwelling units and 4 vehicular parking spaces. Lakeview's population has grown 7.8% since 2010, outpacing the city's 1% growth. The community has more white and Asian residents and fewer Hispanic and Black residents than the city overall. Residents are generally younger, live in smaller households, and have a median income over $100,000, with 83% holding a bachelor's degree or higher. The subject property has a net site area of 5,532 square feet and is located mid-block on the north side of Aldine Avenue between North Broadway and Lakeshore Drive. It qualifies as a transit-served location since it's within 1,320 feet of CTA bus routes 36, 135, 146, and 151. The closest CTA rail station is Belmont, serving the red, purple, and brown lines, located about a half a mile southwest. The vacant site is zone RM5 and located within the private use zone of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection District. No zoning changes proposed. Adjacent properties are 4- and 5-story multifamily buildings with the broader area also primarily multifamily. At this point, I'll turn it over to the applicant team to walk through the proposal on the next slides.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Fred Augustin, Law Office Sandbanks. As Louis alluded to, I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Urban Edge Group LLC. And Louis already talked about the proposed project, 4-story residential building with 4 units, 4 off-street parking spaces, and 4 bike spaces. So this slide here just kind of gives us a streetscape of how the proposed building would look on the block. As you can see, a majority of the buildings are 4 stories, so we would be in line with that. I believe the next slide would be kind of a colored rendering, showing how the building would look from a pedestrian's point of view and kind of give an idea how the colored brick and so forth and how would it be viewed from the street. So next slide. In terms of outreach, we worked with Alderman Lawson on this matter, on the design and on the project. He's in full support. And we also worked with the various departments, Chicago Department of Transportation, Department of Planning and Development, Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities, and Department of Buildings. So, and they're all in support, as well as the fire department. Next slide, just walk through the site plan, layout, side setbacks, were sufficient. They're combined 7 feet, rear setback. Go to the next slide. Here we have kind of just like a block site plan, how the building would look in relation to the other buildings. Again, I think we're pretty much in line with everything else on the block. Just with the floor plans, basement plan, that's where the parking spaces will be located, 4 enclosed spaces, also 4 bike spaces. The first floor unit will be a duplex into the basement. So on the basement plan, you have the family room portion of that unit. And then on the first floor, you essentially have the breakdown of master bedroom and bath and 2 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, I believe. Second and third floor plans are simplexes, 3 beds, 2.5 baths, both floors, as well as the fourth floor plan. Essentially, it's a simplex, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. It also has, if you go to the next slide, a private rooftop deck for that unit. Each of the units will also have front balconies as well as a rear porch. So, and just briefly on the elevations, again, you saw the colored rendering, all brick building, all sides, and economic benefit, temporary jobs. It's currently a vacant land right now. We are proposing 4 condominium units, I believe, and so that would increase the tax base for the area. The building would fit within the character of the neighborhood. It's an all brick building. So with that, I have nothing further.
Again, for the record, Louis Clayton with DPD. DPD has reviewed the proposal and concluded that it is in compliance with the applicable policies of the Lakefront Plan of Chicago and the purposes of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance. In particular, the proposed project is in compliance with these purposes and policies. The proposed development will promote, protect, and enhance the quality of life in the neighboring community and is compatible with the area's existing development pattern. The proposal will improve personal safety by increasing residential density. The project aims to harmonize the lakeshore parks with the community by incorporating a design that aligns with the urban fabric, ensuring continued residential use in the private use zone. And the applicant has consulted with Alderman Lawson and various city agencies, and the proposal aligns with the existing development pattern in the neighborhood. Please refer to my staff report for further details regarding this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, it is the recommendation of the zoning administrator of the Department of Planning and Development that this application, being in conformance with the provisions of the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance, be approved subject to compliance with the plans presented to you today. Thanks.
Thank you, Louis. We do have 2 speakers signed up to speak on this item, Mr. Butler Adams and Mr. George Blakemore. And as a reminder, we will not accept any irrelevant or offensive comments. Mr. Adams?
Again, Butler Adams for the record, I will try not to be irrelevant. So this is one of the smaller projects. I normally don't speak on the smaller projects, but this design kind of captured my eye. It's one of the more contemporary buildings that kind of, I do kind of like. I'm not one of the bird people, but because you all have the glass railings, I hope maybe you all have maybe some of the fritting on it so that birds don't slam into your glass railings for the balconies. And also, I think that we should be building buildings as of right of this scale throughout the whole city. I know this is within the lakefront protection, which is why it's here right now, but I think these bigger buildings are a good thing. And I would also encourage DPD to encourage these developers. I know you all said this project is going to cost $2 million, but in your presentations, I would love to see how much these projects generate in terms of property tax revenue versus how much that property generates right now, because that's a good balance to see, you know, how it's an improvement for the area. That's pretty much all I have for this one. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Mr. Blakemore?
Who defines what is relevant and what is not?
The item that we're talking
The
about.
item that I'm speaking on now is lakefront protection.
Great.
I will not be bullied. I'm using
I
this
will not either.
mic and my presence, educating myself, informing myself. Now, I can ask questions. You don't have to answer these questions. So I must represent my people in a dignified way. However, I must not let bullies, political whatever, bully me. You have made a statement that you're not a question and answer session. I can't ask these questions, but you don't have to answer. I'm not him. I don't get paid with a connection here. As I read and as I am exposed, I'm being educated about how government is not working on the behalf of the constituents. They have a lakefront protection about these high-rise buildings. And then you go to the ultimate. And then you change this ordinance, say we're protecting it. We have a zoning committee. And so all of them are connected. And I can bring up the politics here. I'm not going to be bullied here. I'm using this as a form of education. And I'm not blind, I'm not crippled, and I'm not crazy. And I'm playing the race card because I can. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. But I have every right to question what's going on the lakefront. And you said they had a protection of these buildings that's being on the lakefront. Now things are changing. They're having the high-rise buildings on the lakefront. So as you get angry and threaten and try to intimidate me for being arrested or whatever, you're not dealing with a typical citizen. So you watch, and we must watch how we speak to each other and communicate with each other. There's no big eyes and little eyes here. I was listening. You say this is not a question and answer session. That means you don't have to answer my question, but I can ask. And I can ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Tillman are in attendance. Do the commissioners have any questions of the staff or the applicant on this item?
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay, Commissioner Piñero?
Couple of questions. One is, what's in the parcel right now?
Currently vacant.
Vacant, okay. And I saw in the timeline that, that you're currently planning, for a summer construction beginning, everything is lined up, financing if necessary, to be ready to go.
Right, yeah.
Okay, good,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Good project and I support it. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Not seeing any hands. And we do have a letter of support from Alderman Lawson on this item as well. So if there are no questions or comments, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion. Do I have a motion on a proposed Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance application submitted by Urban Edge Group LLC, 514 for the property generally located at 514 West Aldine Avenue, finding that it meets the requirements for approval? Thank you. A motion by Commissioner Lyons. Do I have a second? Thank you. Second by Commissioner Boatright. Roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Thank you. Commissioner Brooks. Thank you. Commissioner Brumfield. Thank you. Commissioner Carney. Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda. Thank you. Commissioner Flores. Yes. Commissioner Cadaquia. Thank you. Commissioner Lyons, can you confirm? Thank you. Commissioner Murphy? Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Tillman? Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item today is listed as Z3, a proposed amendment to residential business plan development number 1263 as amended, submitted by 1001 Chicago LLC for the property generally located at 727 North Milwaukee Avenue and 1001 West Chicago Avenue. The applicant proposes amending plan development number 1263 to add daycare as permitted use. No changes are proposed to the existing maximum overall floor area ratio of 4.7. This is item 22656, and it's in the 27th Ward. Omar will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Omar Smailobegovic with the Department of Planning and Development. The applicant is here today to request approval of an amendment to Plan Development 1263, which is generally located at 727 North Milwaukee Avenue, which is on Milwaukee Avenue between Morgan and Carpenter Streets. The applicant proposes to add daycare as an allowed use in order to allow for a daycare to be established within existing commercial tenant space at this location. No other changes to the plan development are proposed. Plan Development 1263 was originally approved in 2014 from the site's preceding B3-5 Community Shopping District designation. The plan development consists of two mixed-use buildings, one at the north end of the site and the other at the south end, and a two-story retail office building located at the corner of North Morgan Street and North Milwaukee Avenue. The mixed-use buildings are separated by an automobile driveway and landscaped plaza. The site is located in the Westtown community area, which, according to the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, has a population of approximately 86,482 people. Westtown has seen steady population growth in the last decade. The community area has a median age of 32.7, which is younger than the city and regional median ages, and has a relatively high median household income. The part of Westtown that the subject site is in can be categorized by a mix of medium and high density residential uses, as well as a mix of commercial and light industrial uses. The land uses immediately adjacent to the site include the Chicago Academy for the Arts to the north, a one-story light industrial building and multi-story mixed-use buildings to the east, a surface parking lot to the south, and a one-story bank and retail buildings to the west. Now, I'd like to pass this presentation off to the applicant team to go over the details of the proposed amendment.
Good morning, Chairwoman Flores and members of the commission. My name is Sylvia Mikas. I'm an attorney with Taft Law here in Chicago. Along with my colleague Graham Grady, we represent the applicant and property owner 1001 Chicago LLC. I'm also presenting today will be our project architect, Charles Smith of Arate Design Studio. And also present and available for questions are Jennifer Perkins on behalf of the applicant, Ken Guevara on behalf of the Goddard School, and our traffic engineer, Luay Abuna with KLOA. We would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank Alderman Walter Burnett and his staff, as well as John Bosca and Sam Margarina of the Neighbors of River West for their guidance throughout this process. The subject property consists of a net site area of 90,250 feet, and as Omar mentioned, is improved with 2 multi-story mixed-use buildings located at 728 and 738 North Morgan Avenue, and also a multi-story commercial building component located at 727 North Milwaukee Avenue. Next slide. Just kind of as a matter of context, and a little bit of procedural background on this particular development. In November of 2014, which was the original plan development, it was approved and included the subject property except for 727 North Milwaukee Avenue. That proposed amendment allowed for the construction of the 2 multi-story mixed-use buildings, again located at 728 and 738 North Morgan, and also retail and commercial uses. In May 2016, a minor change to the PD was approved, which allowed for a reduction in the number of parking spaces to 243 and an increase in the number of bike spaces from 50 to 363. July 2017, the PD boundary was amended, thus an amendment to the PD, to include the subject property of 727 North Milwaukee Avenue. And then in September of 2018, an amendment to PD 1263 was approved, which added personal service and indoor participant sports and rec as an allowed use within the PD. Next slide. As Omar mentioned before, the purpose of this proposed amendment to PD number 1263 is to add daycare as a permitted use, thus allowing the applicant to lease the property to the Goddard School, which will establish its daycare facility within the multi-story building component at 727 North Milwaukee Avenue. Next slide, please. So here's the fun part. Here's a day in the life of Goddard School. The proposed daycare facility will have a maximum enrollment of 133 children, 22 permanent employees. The hours of operation will be Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. 28 parking spaces will be available for employees and parents in the North Residential Tower on the 2nd floor. And also, we will have drop-off and pickup spaces for the children. The time of that drop-off and pick up those spaces, those loading zones, we are going to file a request with CDOT that those hours be during operating hours of Goddard School. So Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. There are 3 parking spaces on North Morgan Street and then 5 on North Carpenter. Chuck will go into further detail in terms of the plan. And with that, I turn the presentation over to Charles Smith.
Good morning. My name is Charles Smith. I'm the principal in charge of the project and owner of Arte Design Studio. Thank you for your time this morning, and I'll try to walk through this as quickly as possible. What we're looking to do is develop a daycare facility that would encompass 3 spaces within the proposed PD that was developed several years ago. Space A, which is at the corner of Carpenter and the Center Street, that bifurcates the 2 projects. Space D and C were at the corner of Milwaukee and Morgan. Both these areas, or all 3 of these areas, are highlighted on the exhibit that you see in front of you. Space A comprises of about 1,900 square feet. C is about 1,400 square feet. Suite D, or Space D, is a 2-story space that's about 8,500 square feet. Just for a record, the anticipated construction cost of the project is about $2.5 million to $2.7 million. Project schedule, we're looking to start sometime in late summer with the build out and starting to take children by the time we get state fire approval and DCFS approval sometime in mid-spring, about a year from now. Next slide. What the heck? She wants to get out of here. Just to give you a really quick example idea, like this is the street frontage to enter into Suite A. Suite A is totally separate from Suite D and C, and that's going to comprise primarily of infants. It'll be 16 infants, and that space is designed for that. This is the floor plan of that space. There's 2 classrooms that meet DCFS requirements. There's a main entrance for this. There's the director's office in this location, as well as reception and a small staff area. There is no direct connection internally between A and C and D. This is just a site plans exhibit just to kind of refresh you where you're at. Now we're going to move to space C and D. This is the primary entrance off of Milwaukee. The corner of the building where you see that blade sign hanging out, there'll be a signage there that identifies Goddard School. At the corner will be the main entrance for the primary use. You see there's a rooftop unit on top of this, just real quickly to touch on that. There is a rooftop playground. This glass railing will be modified based on DCFS requirements to an 8-foot-high solid fence for protection. We did a rooftop over in the South Loop, and since then DCFS changed the requirements for the fencing. This gives you another example of where the main entrance would be off of Morgan and Milwaukee. This is a quick photograph of the entrance drive to the parking lot. We will be putting a couple of windows in there required for a couple of the classroom spaces, and there'll be a secondary exit out of there. We will be building a sidewalk that will have railings and ballards on it for protection for the children. This is a floor plan. Thank you. This is a floor plan for space C and D. D is a larger space that you see. That is 2-story spaces. It's an existing facility that hasn't been occupied. This is the space that has the rooftop unit on it. So you could see the elevator, 2 sets of stairs. In space A, it will be toddlers and a component for infants. As you move along the bottom side of D, you see another infant room. Then you see the main entrance, which is an office and a small food prep area. Back side are 2 spaces for toddlers. As you go to the second floor, you have, it's primarily preschool and toddlers. In the front, which is the south end, are 2 spaces that are allocated for 3 to 5-year-olds. And then on the rear space, the north space, are for toddlers, which are 24 to 35 months. Then you have the ability to be able to take the elevator and or the 2 fire stairs to the rooftop unit. Rooftop unit, based on DCFS requirements, will only allow 40 students, so which is about 1/3 of the class, the total school. And that rotates in and out during the course of the day. And I think Sylvia's going to take it from here.
Okay, so here is our project timeline. The applicant in the Goddard School discussed its proposed plans for the establishment of the Goddard School with Alderman Burnett, and also met with members of the Department of Planning and Development in November of 2024. December 2nd of 2024, the applicant in Goddard School presented its plan to the neighbors of River West. And then in February of 2025, the applicant filed its proposed amendment to PD number 1263, which is before you today. Upon approval of the PD amendment, the project team will secure the necessary building permits and commence interior rebuild of spaces A, C, and D. The applicant and the Goddard School commissioned a traffic study, which was prepared by KLOA. The report arrived at the following conclusions: that the area intersections will not be significantly impacted by the proposed daycare facility. Traffic utilizing the studied intersections estimated to only increase by approximately 1% during weekday morning and evening peak hours. Proposed drop-off and pickup loading spaces on the northwest corner of Morgan, Milwaukee, and the northeast corner of Carpenter and Milwaukee will adequately accommodate projected demand. The parking for employees and parents is accommodated by the existing parking garage that we mentioned before. Next slide, please. The applicant plan is to have 22 permanent jobs that will operate the daycare facility. The applicant is going to exercise best efforts to achieve 26.6 MWBE and 50% local hiring with 10% from the Ward 27. The project budget is $2.5 million. We have a letter of support from Alderman Burnett that has been submitted to DPD. We would also like to thank Omar and Noah from DPD and CDOT staff and fire staff for their assistance as part of the applicant's PD process. I respectfully request your favorable recommendation of this project. Thank you.
Again, for the record, Omar Smailebegovich from DPD. The Department of Planning and Development has reviewed the project materials submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposed additional use would be appropriate because it is compliant with the standards and guidelines of the Chicago zoning ordinance. The proposed daycare is compatible with West Town's mix of residential and commercial uses, and because public infrastructure and facilities will be adequate to serve the proposed use. I will also note that a letter of support from Alderman Burnett is on file. Please refer to the staff report for further details regarding this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, it is the recommendation of the zoning administrator that this application to amend Plan Development 1263 be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. We do have two speakers signed up to speak on this item. The first speaker is John Bosca from Neighbors of River West, who's for the proposal, and Mr. George Blakemore.
Good morning. My name is John Bosca, Neighbors of River West, President Emeritus. Thank you for the opportunity to address this group. First of all, appreciate the applicant along with Taft Law came to our meeting and presented just what you've seen here. As in our normal fashion, we sent out invitations to people within 250 feet of the property, and we have a list of those folks. Our meeting was in early December, and as every single development that comes before our group, the same concerns always come up. In this particular instance, the use is for daycare. Again, our neighborhood association has approved everything from daycare to doggy daycare to all kinds of uses and changes for PDs. This one is no different. This particular property has been vacant for a number of years since it was developed. It's good to see something to go in there. However, that being said, change is happening. Also, everybody wants to see things get better. However, nobody wants change. The biggest concern with this was from a couple that came in. Their biggest concern was being able to get through Morgan Street. One of the things that was proposed in which the applicant, along with Taft, as well as the traffic consultant spoke to, was putting in loading zones for the times that the school would be open for drop-off as well as for pickup. That's very important. Also as important with that is safety during that time as well, because a lot of folks who come, they sit there and they're waiting and even become somewhat of a target. And targets are because of crime in the area as it has risen, although it's leveled off somewhat. We have found that during these times where people are just sitting, leaving their cars, whether it be for Uber pickups, pick up their children or whatever else, they become targets if they leave their car running. No one thinks about it, but it does happen. However, the applicant did put in the loading zones, which we appreciate and glad that they'll use those. Lastly, I do want to say this is that at our neighborhood meeting, We did not take a vote on this because there was a couple that was just adamant that this or whatever operation would go in there would have a traffic impact. Traffic impacts are going to happen with every single development. The reality is change is here and change will continue to happen. It's a message that we need to keep putting forward and be able to work through that. So again, I'm in support of this. And again, thank you very much for allowing me to speak to this, but the applicant as well as Goddard went through all the due diligence that they should have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bosca. Mr. Blakemore?
You listening? Listening is fundamental. Were you listening? Did you hear this gentleman say that they didn't have a vote? Because of one of the people there didn't want to go along with this. But now it's in this body to pass it or to reject it. Did you hear the gentleman say that they didn't have the vote? Fundamental listening. You can learn from listening. The gentleman said, and it's one of the criteria is to have a vote by the community. This is why it's very important of a man of Mr. Blakemore caliber to be in these meetings. Now, this is another dog and pony show. But why? Because they have the zoning, they have the plan commission, but each one is supposed to check the other one. But they don't do that. That's why they have various committees, planning and development, zoning. And then when you see people from zoning that used to be on the council, now they're part of the planning commission zone, one of the alts. It's very important for Mr. Blakemore to show out and show up and speak up. That's why they want to silence him. Or put him out, make him a criminal. Don't get to sergeant of arms on him. This man said that they did not have the vote. And I'm leaving it up to you now. And I'm going to watch how you all going to pass this. I'm not going to say another word. Just sit myself down, all painted up, and watch how this saga ends.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions of the staff or the applicant on this item? Yeah, Commissioner Lyons?
Thank you. Could you, I apologize if I missed this, but the space A, space C and D, will there be a connection on there? Just on the layout, I wasn't quite sure how, or if how people would connect between the two. Oh, I am
Yes.
on page 12.
If you look at the slide,
Can you state your name for the record?
oh, I'm sorry. My name is Charles Smith, architect of record with Arte Design Studio. I apologize. There is a direct connection between space D and C. If you go to the floor plan, those two uses are very similar with regards to the type of children that will be in those spaces. So there's that synergy. Okay, we do have a couple of spaces in there for infants. But our goal is to basically have multiple student bases from a family that would be infant, toddler, preschool, so they kind of grow within the system. Space A is purely dedicated for infants, so there's really there's no need for cross services. It's an independent space. This infants are serviced and provided with the needs that they have within that space. So it really acts as its own separate entity, but it's all part of the same facility.
Got it. So totally separate. And will the drop-off pickup stalls serve just the space A or?
No, I apologize. There are 8 total spaces. There's
see.
3 on Morgan
Got it.
and
Yep.
5 on Carpenter.
Got
so each has
their own.
They each have, but they could also be crossed. I mean, basically to walk, if you're on Carpenter, to kind of walk the short block to get them into space D is not all that. We find in, just for a little bit of logistics issues, we find that dropping off the toddlers and preschoolers goes pretty quick, like, see, mom, and stuff like that, where bringing in for an infant, you've got the stroller and all the other gobbledygook that goes with it. So that drop off tends to be a little bit longer, hence the more drop off areas by A as opposed to D.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, not seeing any more hands raised. Alderman Burnett is not here, but we do have a letter of support for this item. So if there are no more questions or comments, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion. Do I have a motion on a proposed amendment to residential business plan development number 1263 as amended, submitted by 1001 Chicago LLC for the property generally located at 727 North Milwaukee Avenue and 1001 West Chicago Avenue, finding that it meets the requirements for approval? Motion by Commissioner Boatright. Do I hear a second? Commissioner Cadakia, roll call vote. Also, let the record reflect that Commissioner La Espada is here. Roll call vote, Commissioner Boatright. Thank you. Commissioner Brooks. Thank you. Commissioner Brumfield. Thank you. Commissioner Carney. Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda. Yes. Thank you. Commissioner Flores. Yes. Commissioner Cadakia. Thank you. Commissioner La Espada.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lyons. Thank you. Commissioner Murphy. Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Tillman. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank
Very
you.
much. Happy Easter, everybody.
Likewise. Thank you.
Did we defer 79?
No, we're gonna
coming?
vote. Yeah,
I-
we're
I
gonna
just
vote
did-
on it.
It's empty.
Okay.
Okay.
They
That's all right.
forgot. He knew. The next item today is listed as D4, a proposed resolution to adopt the 79th Street Corridor Plan. The proposed plan is a collaborative effort led by the Department of Planning and Development and the Regional Transportation Authority to revitalize commercial activity along 79th Street between Ashland Avenue and Vincent's Avenue and South Halsted Street from West 77th Street to West 83rd Street. The study, which began in 2022, is a culmination of a community-driven approach over 2 years to establish goals and strategies to guide future growth along 79th Street. Included in the plan are recommendations aim to optimize land use for the local businesses and affordable housing, improve multimodal transportation, and drive economic development along the 79th Street corridor. This is in the 6th and 17th wards. Yaya Eizaguirre will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Jaya Eizaguirre, Urban Designer for the Department of Planning and Development, and I'm here today to present the 79th Street Corridor Plan for recommended adoption. This plan represents a collaborative effort to revitalize a key area in the Auburn Gresham community and proposes strategies to unlock the potential of this historic corridor. The study area spans the Auburn Gresham neighborhood along 79th Street, predominantly in the 17th Ward, with a small portion in the 6th Ward. It overlaps with the 79th Street Corridor TIF District. The study was conducted in close partnership with the Regional Transportation Authority, with Hauser Levine serving as consultant and the Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation as the community partner. Together, we've worked to ensure this plan reflects community voices and the needs and aspirations of the people who live, work, and invest in this area. Here is a map of the study area, which stretches along 79th Street between Ashland and Vincennes and down Halsted from 77th to 83rd Street. This intentionally central location connects key neighborhood resources and provides opportunities for revitalization. Community engagement has been a cornerstone of this plan. Over the course of 2+ years, we hosted 3 public meetings, collected over 80 survey responses, and had 60 regular participants at community meetings. Additionally, 5 steering committee meetings were held with 12 dedicated community members, including GAGDC, actively involved in providing feedback and shaping the plan throughout its writing. The continued commitment of a dedicated group of community members demonstrates a strong commitment to ensuring that the plan truly reflects the community's vision. The plan builds on existing public and private investments in the corridor, such as the Auburn Metro Station, slated to open later this year, the Auburn Gresham Apartments, whose ribbon cutting was earlier this month, the Healthy Lifestyle Center Hub, headquarters of GAGDC and other community services, and the Blue Azul Gym, the most recent CDG awardee on this corridor. These catalytic projects have already made a positive impact and set the groundwork for this plan to strategically leverage city grants like NOF and CDG to attract further development to support a thriving and sustainable corridor. While the corridor has seen many recent investments and has some established development and business resources, as well as the presence of active community organizations, existing conditions indicate lingering vacancies, underutilized commercial properties, and scattered land use categories. Through our engagement efforts, the community has established 11 key goals for the area. These goals include increasing density, creating more housing near transit, supporting a vibrant retail environment, improving walkability, and enhancing access to multimodal transit services. These priorities lay the foundation for the plan's future success. The land use goals outlined in this plan aim to bring these community aspirations to life. They include developing neighborhood centers along Halsted and Ashland near high-frequency transit, fostering commercial transition areas along the corridor, and preserving existing homes while promoting middle-density housing infill in surrounding residential areas. The plan also outlines strategies to support renovations and adaptive reuses, as well as temporary placemaking initiatives. These strategies are intended to help concentrate commercial activity and expand housing opportunities to support vibrant and sustainable businesses that are accessible and rooted in the neighborhood. Transportation and public realm is also central to the plan's success, given the community's emphasis on walkability and multimodal transportation. The plan was coordinated with CDOT to support the implementation of CDOT's Streetscape project, which aims to enhance pedestrian safety, increase bicycle connectivity, and establish multi-mobility hubs. Additionally, the plan explores opportunities for shared parking in underutilized lots, maximizing resources and improving overall accessibility. A key aspect of the plan is investing in both new and existing businesses to help create a dynamic and inclusive economy that benefits everyone in the community. With a large number of vacant and city-owned parcels along this corridor, the plan also identifies several catalytic development opportunities, sites for mixed-use and residential ETOD projects. Both the 17th and 6th Ward aldermen have been engaged throughout this process and are fully supportive of the plan's adoption. Their involvement is a testament to the collaboration and effort and the shared commitment to revitalizing this important corridor. The final draft of the plan was posted on DPD's website and was open for public comment for over 30 days. With the strong support of the community, local businesses, and aldermen, the Department of Planning and Development recommends adoption of the 79th Street Corridor Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Yaya. We also have speakers signed up on this item. Mr. George Blakemore, Mr. Butler Adams, and Ms. Norma Sanders. Oh, and yeah.
Again, it's very important for Mr. Blakemore to be present. Check and balance. I see no check and balance. I see the same people that's in zoning pops up here in planning and the Commission on Planning and Development. The Alton, this area on 79th and public transportation, they have the RTA and other train lines that run in these to a ward. They're devastated ward. They're high crime ward. And they're predominant black ward. Where is the economic development of these people, that my people in these wards? The check and balance. So it would appear that these intergovernment agreements are, each one is checking the other one, but they're not. Each one is going along with the other. It's no check and balance. The same people that you see in city council and these other boards, you see them here. This board is supposed to check and balance the others. The mere fact that some of them sit on the same board is not good government. And the mere fact that they're all Democrats, no check and balance, is not good government. To have a one-party system. It appears, I know in Europe, they have the Nazi parties, the one party, or in China, they have a one party. To have good government, you must have different opinions and different departments in checking and balance. So again, I'm back to this economic development, planning and development with a one-party system. That's why people like me can be abused, because I'm going against this. We need a check and balance. And I would think that planning and development would be one way of checking the other agency. But what one says, the other goes along. And it's just a dog and pony show. I can say that. You want to.
Mr. Adams?
Yes, again, for the record, my name is Butler Adams. I did submit a letter of support for this project this time and last time when you all had the complimentary presentation, but I just wanted to read it off real quick, that I'm submitting this letter in support of the 79th Street Corridor Plan. This plan highlights multiple opportunities to build up the area along 79th Street from Vincennes on the east to Ashland on the west, where multiple vacant lots exist. The population of this area is down more than 20,000 from its peak, and this is a chance for rebuilding and regrowth. Recent Plan Commission meetings have dealt with the 95th Street corridor from Hollister to Cottage Grove and the upzoning of Broadway from Montrose to Devon. And while this project may not be significantly as dense as those other two projects, again, it is a chance to fill in the missing middle density. That said, I think DPD, and I said this last time, and the alderman whose wards this plan lies within should take a second look at this plan and considering amending the plan boundary half-mile east to State Street, because right there you have the red line. And again, with this, with all the Auburn Gresham Metro Station under construction right now, this is a great opportunity. And I had a chance about, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago to go to the missing middle presentation in Alderman Scott's ward. And that was a really good thing. And I would love to see that here, but even better, because down there you had 2 flats, 3 flats, single-family homes, and I believe some 6 flats as well. And I believe all those developers were Black for those presentations. So this is an opportunity to do this here. And also with so much city land being in possession, I think the city should upzone a lot of the land that they own already before they sold off to the developers. And I had a chance to ride Metro for the first time like 2 months ago with a friend, and going past that 79th Street stop, I know they're building a brand new stop there at 79th Street, but looking at the rendering here, you have this like kind of plaza with cars in it. To me, this will be a great opportunity to have a building of, I don't know, 10, 12 floors with a lot of density right next to the brand new Metro stop, but that's just me. But otherwise, I do support this plan. I look forward to the DPD doing more plans like this along corridors, including Vincennes, because you have further south, the Metro trains, and you have stops along Vincennes, and that's certainly an ugly street. But this is a great opportunity, and I want to see more of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Ms. Sanders?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Norma Sanders. I am the Special Initiatives Director with the Greater Auburn Gresham Development Corporation. And I'm also the pillar lead for economic development that you have watched and seen along 79th Street, and also the steward for this 79th Street corridor plan. I wanted to share our support of the corridor plan on behalf of my team, the organization, our steering committee, as well as the neighborhood. We have been in the community as the quarterback for economic development for over 20 years with our master plan. It has been our pleasure on behalf of the Auburn Gresham community, which, by the way, is still the busiest bus line in Chicago, to work with you, Jaya, from DPD, CDOT, DK's Department of Housing, and RTA on this plan. It wasn't easy. It took a minute, but Jaya, we thank you for over 2 administrations making this happen and bring it to closure. It's been really hard getting all the outreach from the residents, getting all the feedback into this plan, but we have a final plan that we all can be proud of. That said, approval of this plan will give us an updated framework and direction to build out the corridor for walkability, for cultural enhancements, and more importantly, working with CDOT on some safety enhancements that we have really been waiting for along 79th Street. This corridor plan is a small part of the neighborhood, but it's the most important catalytic area and will allow us to continue the great work along 79th Street at that Halsted node. And I will say to the gentleman, we are a part of the middle neighborhood housing strategy. It's right along Vincennes, right near Westcott Elementary. So we want to make sure you're a part of that. Come to our corridor meeting tonight at the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub at 8 o'clock. Again, thank you on behalf of the community. You have our full support.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Do the commissioners have any questions of Yaya about this item? Oh, Commissioner La Espada?
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's I mean, just scrolling through it on my phone, there's a lot of information that is really interesting to digest. I'm particularly curious about the land use side of it, because when you look at the zoning map, a lot of the zoning precludes the kind of development that I think folks would hope to see. It looks predominantly RS-3. There's some pockets of RT-4 here. Most of the commercial corridors looks like it's zone B1 zoning, which, I mean, most of us know is profoundly limiting on the variety of business types that you can see in the area. And then looking at the areas directly surrounding the metro, you have a lot of manufacturing zoning, which it does, of course, doesn't lend itself to transit-served development. I'm curious, like, I know categorically, qualitatively, what kind of development folks are interested to see. Did you get into the nitty-gritty, the granular of what zoning categories, what kind of land use people are hoping to see in the future?
Thank you for your question. So this is definitely a first step in figuring out what zoning and changes could happen here. We have been working very closely with the aldermen in synthesizing the feedback from this plan into zoning recommendations for the area. This map that's on the presentation right now shows how we've been breaking it up into different categories of neighborhood center, commercial transition, and housing infill. And with those in the plan, we've outlined zoning recommendations that would go along with that. So like you noted, a lot of the commercial transition areas, they're B1 right now. Some of the recommendations involve increasing that to maybe B2 to allow for some, residential as well as commercial in those in-between areas, as well as increasing the FAR in some of the higher density commercial areas. Of course, this would be a zoning plan that would perhaps take a little bit more work and engagement with the community, but we have started outlining, future steps for the zoning in this area as well.
When you use the terminology of neighborhood center, what does that mean? What do residents want a neighborhood center to look like and feel like?
So a neighborhood center, the way we've defined it is thinking about it a little bit more as kind of a mixed-use development area. I'm going to read off the definition from the plan itself. Give me a moment. I might not be able to find this page immediately.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But basically, seeing a little bit more density than you would in a commercial transition. So mixed use, some residential above maybe 2 to 3 stories, and seeing uses that are perhaps a bit larger, things like grocery stores, pharmacies, things that are also attractive to people that would be driving as opposed to walking. So connecting kind of the commercial uses with transit opportunities, drive opportunities, as well as pedestrian opportunities in more of a core area. And then the commercial transition zones would be for smaller businesses, restaurants, things that would collect better with kind of neighborhood uses.
How many lanes is 79th? Is that like wide? Are we talking about a 2-lane or?
It's not that wide. It's 4 lanes, I think.
Okay.
More or less, don't quote me on that. It has a lot of transit and a lot of traffic, but it's not that wide of a street. It's maybe four lanes, 2 each way.
Okay. Really curious. Thank you for the work you've done on this. Thank you, Tara.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Bourright?
Not a question, just a comment and a compliment to Jaya and her team. They've worked so hard with engagement. They've worked so closely with the community and some of our community leaders. And I just appreciate the thoughtful engagement, the thoughtful planning that your team and you have led on this. I'm not sure if you all saw on the slide that just talks about the investment. Those are some projects that you don't see right now. Those are projects that will come. And we're hopeful and confident, I should say, not hopeful, we're confident that the land use planning will attract even more robust investment. You've heard about the population loss. Jaya and the planning team have really done an amazing job of really thinking about these corridors holistically. I also want to note that these are areas that have not had robust planning done. We've seen piecemeal planning as projects have come along. And so I think this is just a really good example of what we want to see more of. Yes, you've seen it on 95th. You're seeing it on Broadway. You're seeing it across really key corridors. And so just the thoughtful planning in some of these very disinvested areas that deserve this thoughtful effort and deserve the investment is a breath of fresh air. So thank you, Jaya. Thank you to my amazing team, just for all the coordination, both within DPD, but also with other departments like DOH and CDOT, and some of our other partners.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? No? Oh, Commissioner Lyons?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this. This is, I was looking at the plan, the draft plan, I think from January too, which is chock full of really great information and data. And I love to see the key actions, sort of the very specific recommendations. Can you, and I know it says, time estimate, priority level, for things like medium term, I guess, what does that mean for kind of the layperson? For example, implementing streetscapes, which, is sort of a very specific, tangible thing. What does medium term look like for residents in that area?
So high priority would identify things that could happen pretty much immediately, or in some cases, things that we've already started before this plan has been adopted. Medium priority is things that are taking a little bit more time because of community engagement, involvement with other departments, but that are still like a priority that will take a little bit more time to implement. And then the lower priority things, those are things we'd like to see happen, but we're not pushing as urgently as the medium priority ones.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So just to go in order. So we do have a letter of support from Alderman Hall, and we have somebody from Alderman Moore's staff here to speak on this item. Cardinal Jackson.
How you all doing this morning? My name is Cordero Jackson, Chief of Staff for Alderman David Moore in the 17th Ward. So when it comes down to the 79th Street Corridor Plan, like I said, we've been waiting for some development. The community is excited to have the development here that has come. We do want to thank DPD, Metro, DKs, DOH, everybody's involvement in getting this done. One of the things I want to let people know and remind them that the community was very big on this plan. They were very involved in this plan. Nothing happened without their opinions, so we definitely have to thank the Auburn Gresham community for coming out to all those meetings held by 17th Ward and GAGDC, and all the way from the streetscape, what's going to happen outside, to how Metro is going to be looking, how, if that grocery store is serving what they want in the actual community, all the way to how these apartment buildings are looking and what they're supplying. The community was very involved, and they're very opinionated when it comes to it. And we just want to thank them for being involved with that, and we're going to keep that involvement going. There are other projects coming up. Blue Azul is also another one that's coming up. Currently, right now, we do have the Save a Lot, the Yellow Banana. They are there currently. We have the 2 development buildings who are there for mixed use. And of course, like we say, Metro's coming along the way. So we want to just thank everybody for their help and assistance in getting us where we're going, and also for the future.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Mr. Jackson or Jaya? No, if not, then I'll go ahead and ask for a motion on this item. Do I have a motion on a proposed resolution to adopt the 79th Street Corridor Plan, finding that it meets the requirements for approval?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner La Espada. Do I have a second? Okay, I think Commissioner Gadakia. Roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright? Thank you. Commissioner Brooks? Thank you. Commissioner Brumfield? Thank you. Commissioner Carney? Thank you. Commissioner Castañeda?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores? Yes. Commissioner Gadakia? Thank you. Commissioner La Espada?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Lyons? Thank you. Commissioner Murphy? Thank you. Commissioner Piñeiro?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes.
Thank you. And Commissioner Tillman? Thank you. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Motion passes. Thank you. The next item today is listed as D5. An informational presentation on the South Branch Framework Plan. The plan is an upcoming planning initiative led by the Department of Planning and Development to review, align, and coordinate past planning efforts along the South Branch of the Chicago River, Bubbly Creek, and the Sanitary and Ship Canal, and to develop a unified set of recommendations and an implementation strategy for achieving river edge and connectivity improvements. This is in the 11th and 12th wards. Rodrigo Martel will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Good morning, Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Rodrigo Martel Orihuela with the Southwest Planning Region of the Department of Planning and Development. Today, I will be presenting an informational overview of the South Branch Framework, which is a plan consolidation report of past planning efforts around the South Branch of the Chicago River and Bubbly Creek. The study was officially launched in March of this year and is being carried out entirely in-house by DPD. This presentation outlines the anticipated scope of work, the project timeline, and the next steps toward the plan's adoption and implementation. The Plan Consolidation Report for the South Branch of the Chicago River seeks to integrate and align previous government and community planning efforts into a comprehensive strategy. This strategy will include an implementation plan aimed at enhancing riverfront access and improvements, while identifying which recommendation the city or its partners can advance versus what is more appropriate for the community to lead. The study will focus on a 3-mile stretch of the South Branch and Bubbly Creek from Pinkton Memorial Park to Western Avenue, encompassing 2 wards and the community areas of Chinatown, Bridgeport, and McKinley Park. Efforts to revitalize the South Branch of the Chicago River have been underway for nearly 3 decades, with both government agencies and community organizations contributing to its transformation. However, Over the past 10 years, community-based organizations have taken the lead in planning and advocating for improvements along this critical waterway. Their invaluable work has highlighted the need for the Department of Planning and Development to provide coordination and guidance while working in close collaboration with sister agencies and aldermanic offices to translate plans into action. This plan consolidation report seeks to address that gap by reaffirming the city's commitment to the South Branch and Babley Creek and establishing a framework that aligns recommendation and implementation partners. Despite being developed independently, many past plans share common goals. These include enhancing pedestrian and cycling infrastructure along the riverfront, promoting improved accessibility, and leveraging the landscape and aesthetic potential of the river to create new opportunities for recreation and an inclusive public realm. Additionally, plans call for the restoration of native species, the remediation of historically industrial areas, and the creation of a unique identity that resonates with residents and visitors alike. The South Branch Framework will be an in-house 8-month planning initiative led by DPD. The effort will begin with a comprehensive review and comparative analysis of previous plans and studies, and an existing condition analysis to confirm the gaps identified in past planning efforts. DPD does not anticipate to include additional large-scale community engagement as it builds upon the robust work already completed and currently underway by community-based organizations. However, the process will include targeted engagement of community organizations and other partners, including sister agencies and aldermanic offices. This engagement will play a key role in ensuring a coordinated and aligned outcome, particularly during the design of the implementation and phasing plan. The alders of the 11th and 12th Ward have been engaged and are supportive of this planning effort. The final report will be organized into 3 main sections. The first one will focus on the review and analysis of previous plans and studies. The second one will address the existing condition analysis, tackling key issues such as demographics, riverfront infrastructure, public realm and open space, transportation, and land use and zoning along the South Branch of the Chicago River and Babley Creek. The third and final section will synthesize the findings from the previous 2 sections to propose a coordinated set of recommendations. This section will also outline a phased implementation plan, clearly defining the role of DPD and the city, also anticipated timelines and potential funding opportunities. These elements will be shared and socialized with stakeholders who have supported and participated in the planning process. We anticipate that the South Branch Framework will be published and available for public review and comment in fall of 2025. The report will be open for a 30-day public comment period during which city staff will review and consider all feedback before presenting the final version to the Chicago Plan Commission for its formal adoption. Thank you for your time, and we welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Rodrigo. We do have Mr. George Blakemore signed up to speak on this item as well.
A sustainable environment. Sustainable. That means you don't want it to have a negative effect on the health, mental health, and physical health of the citizens. That river is toxic. And reading is fundamental. Sanitary. That's where Water Reclamation have their plant, one of their plants in that area. And it stinks out there. So that's the problem. Are we going to have sustainable environment dealing with our waterway? Or is it about the money? Now, I've been here listening and watching this rubber stamp. Every item that comes up, you all agree on. There's no dissent. No dissent. never know. That's what's very trouble with a one-party system. No checks and no balance. All Democrats. All Democrats. Now, I can use another word, and they say, oh, Mr. Blakemore, you're a bugger. Don't use this word. What's going on here is un-American. We have a two-party system, a multi-party system. Each one checks one, each one teach one, each one inform one. That's why it's very important for Mr. Blakemore to come here. So this committee that you're on now, Commission on Planning and Development. So what makes it look very Democrat, because all of them go along with the other one. And they see it as going blue. I see it as corruption, fraud, and abuse. So it won't be a happy ending between Mr. Blakemore and these various agencies. I am talking as public enemy number one. And Reverend Trump says fake news doesn't carry this. They are silent. They are silent to the extent that they want to arrest me, to lock me up, because I disagree with what's going on here. Thank you. Thank you.
Do the commissioners have any questions of Rodrigo on this item? Commissioner Reyes?
Yeah, Rodrigo, can you tell us what are the community organizations that you guys have engaged or, have been working with?
There are a set of community organizations, but the most prominent ones are the McKinley Development Park, the Development Council, which have developed previous plans. Again, we do not plan to do more community engagement because there has been done quite a few efforts in the past.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I am assuming, I understand that you are using the studies that other community organizations have done, but at some point, are you going to talk to them, reach out to them? I mean, I'm not asking for, community participation, but I am asking for some kind of connection with those organizations.
Commissioner Reyes, I think Nolan wants to chime in on that answer.
Thank you. For the record, Nolan Zaroff with the Department of Planning and Development. Yeah, we have already been in conversation with the McKinley Park Development Council, the South Branch Framework Advisory Council, and the Bridgeport Alliance. And so we continue, they're already on board, and we will continue to engage with them as well as with, any other community organizations or partners that are appropriate.
Okay, thank you. And I truly want to say that I value that this is an effort that is being done by the Department of Planning. I truly value that because I think it's important. There is a lot of talent within the department, Commissioner. So I think that is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner La Espada, you wanted to ask something?
It's more of a comment. So what I feel like I heard you say is we're not doing additional engagement because engagement was done in previous rounds of plans and studies. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
The only thing that I would encourage DPD to kind of interrogate is what was the equity, what was the diversity in engagement conducted the last time around? Because that's going to determine the kind of outcomes you get in this planning process as well. Like if we were mainly reaching out, for example, to industrial retention groups, they're going to say the primary thing we should be doing here is retaining industry when the broader community may have different perspectives that were not brought to the table because of how previous consultation was conducted. Maybe that's something that DPD is already looking at, but I just wanted to voice that concern and that interest. Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Boatright?
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is more formal engagement and then informal engagement. And the team is constantly informally engaging community to make sure that we're getting it right at every turn. And so I don't want to make it seem like our engagement is rigid at all. I think what, in the presentation, what we wanted to highlight is formal groups that have been engaged in the earlier phasing, if you will. But our engagement doesn't have a start or a stop. And I'm really proud of the team, just thoughtful conversations that they're having to make sure that we're getting it right throughout multiple phases. And I think both partners within the team, we're trying to articulate that. But I appreciate both of you all's thoughtful comments. I think there's never enough engagement, and we can certainly always be flexible to make sure that we're hearing all voices and then being flexible and nimble to market conditions. Because to your point, Alderman, things do shift, and we want to make sure we're getting those relevant voices with the shifts.
Commissioner Gadakis?
Hi, I wanted to ask, understanding that this is an urban site, obviously, but it's also a major confluence of our waterways, also evidently. I'm wondering what environmental groups, consultations you may have engaged with around how to, kind of balance these different elements and to make sure that best practices are being engaged around the environment and, as you mentioned, species.
Yeah, thank you. Again, for the record, Nolan Zarf with the Department of Planning and Development. A lot of these plans and studies did engage with environmental organizations. The most recent one, the South Branch Connectivity Project, MPDC brought in like Neighbors for Environmental Justice and other organizations. But that's something that we want to continue to engage on. And the city does have its River Ecology and Governance Task Force, and I think this would be an appropriate project to bring to that group, which convenes over 100 professionals in, environmental organizations, in science. And so, yeah, I think we would want to continue to make sure that we're triangulating on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay. Any of the aldermen here? No, okay. But we do, obviously, they've been working along with the staff, right, on this?
Yes, both the aldermen along the river have been engaged by the planning division, and they'll continue to operate with them, and then they'll be here at the time of adoption. But this was just information.
Informational update. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And because of that, we're not taking a vote on this. So thank you, Rodrigo and Nolan, for the information and the presentation and all the work that went into this one. And we look forward to seeing it come back for vote. Thank you. And the next item and the last one is listed as D6. It's a very brief informational presentation by DPD staff on an upcoming public-facing dashboard tool regarding Plan Commission items. So Louis Clayton will walk us through the tool. I got a chance to see it yesterday, and it is very exciting.
All right. Good morning again. For the record, my name is Louis Clayton with DPD. So I'm excited to give you a preview of a new public-facing dashboard we've created to track development projects approved by the Plan Commission. It's designed to improve transparency and make it easier to explore project data. It includes projects approved since 2024 and will be updated regularly going forward. So let's take a look. This is the starting view of the dashboard showing all projects approved since 2024. I'll start with a quick overview of the main elements, starting at the top. These are selectors. Selectors allow you to filter which projects are displayed by choosing specific criteria. These are indicators. They show high-level summary data for the visible projects and are updated automatically as the data is filtered. This is the project list. It displays all projects that are visible on the map and that meet the filter criteria. This is project data, and this provides detailed information for each project. It currently includes all track data points, but we will refine that more before going live. This is the map that shows project locations using different symbols and colors based on the individual application types. And at the bottom right, this is a reset button, which allows you to quickly clear all filters and return the dashboard to its default view. Next, I'll walk you through some of these features in more detail. So starting with selectors, again, these allow you to filter the data based on specific criteria. In this case, we have meeting date, so you can set a specific month, a quarter, a year, or a custom time range. We have application types, so here are our 4 main application types. We have the wards you can filter by. And then the 4th one we're going to change. Currently it's planning regions, but we're going to change that to community areas, which I think will be more of interest to the community at large. So I want to note that these selectors, these filters are all dynamic. So any options in one update based on the selections you make in the other. And as you adjust any of these selectors, the map, the indicators, and the project list will automatically update to reflect your selections. All right, so let's see some of these in action. So here's again, the dashboard with the default view with no filters applied in all the visible projects. So first, we'll apply a meeting date filter to show only projects in 2024. And I want you to watch how the map, the indicators, and the project list update as the filters are applied. So the dashboard now shows only projects approved in 2024, and the map, indicators, and project lists have updated accordingly. Next, we'll apply a second filter, this time selecting only new plan development application types. And again, watch how the dashboard updates. So now we're looking at projects approved in 2024 that are also new plan development application types. So we'll do one more, this time adding or narrowing it down to projects located in the 27th ward. So now the dashboard is only showing projects that meet all 3 criteria, 2024, new PDs, and the 27th ward. But you could do this with any combination of those filters. So next we'll take a closer look at the map. Again, here's the dashboard in the default view with all projects visible. I'll start by zooming in on the map, and you can again see how the indicators, project list are updated based on the projects that are visible in the map. So now the dashboard is only showing projects that are visible on the map, and the indicators and project lists have updated accordingly. So let's say you're interested in data for a specific project or one point on that map. You can click that specific point that represents that project, and the dashboard will update in real time. So now it's just focused on one single project. So we'll take a closer look at the project list. Again, here's the dashboard at the default view. You have a couple options. You can scroll through that list and select a specific property you're interested in, or you can search using that search feature. When you click on an item, that will highlight it, and then it will update the dashboard settings, including the map, the indicators, and the project data. So here's an example where I've scrolled to a project and selected that specific address. So the dashboard is updated to reflect the data for that specific project. Another option would be to search for that in the search toolbar. So that was a quick overview, and we're going to touch on next steps, but generally those are to launch this. This will be live on the City Plan Commission website, hopefully soon. And then the plan is to update that regularly as new projects are approved, and then explore future enhancements and additions based on feedback. So, thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Any questions, comments? Yeah, well, Commissioner Boatwright and then Commissioner Brumfield also wants to.
Yeah, just a comment. I am so excited about this platform. You all should be too, right? This captures all the information that has been approved by Plan Commission. The team has done such a good job, both Noah and Louis, just in making sure that this information is accessible, It's easy to navigate. Anyone, regardless of how familiar you are with the Plan Commission projects, can go in and see what's been approved, the value of that approval, where it's located, how many units of housing are coming online, if applicable, how many are affordable. And so I just want to give kudos to my team just for their hard work in a very short time frame to pull this dynamic kind of presentation, if you will, together so that it truly is transparent, intuitive, and just public facing. So thank you all. I'm excited. I can't wait for us to continue to make updates to all the projects as they come forward for approval at Plan Commission. Phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Are we considering going back to before 2024? Is that depending on how it goes?
Yes, I want to go back before 2024. Noah's raising his eyebrows, but we definitely want to, we want to go back. The information is important. We haven't determined how far we're going to go back.
Yeah.
We're going to go back. We've been focusing a lot on what we've done in 2024. Let's make sure that we're adding the information on 2025. But yeah, I do want to go back.
That would be nice.
Commissioner, I'll just respond.
Yeah.
I won't promise too much, but we want to make sure it works, one. So we want to test it, we want to let everyone play with it and make sure nothing breaks.
User
And then
friendly.
we have to make sure, what, for these tools, it's important that the data that goes in is recorded in a very specific and a way that everyone is using it the same. Because if data goes in differently, then the GIS platforms and tools do not read the data properly. So we've set that up. So we for sure will add 2023 data, and we for sure will add 2022 data. Beyond that, it may be a heavier
Yeah.
lift, but at least we'll do that at some
Yeah,
point in time.
that's plenty. Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Burnfield, followed by Commissioner La Espada and Commissioner Reyes.
No, this is just impressive to see that the department is taking us deeper into the 21st century. So, and I mean that. I think it's great. Just for a point of information for the commission, just curious, where else has this been done in the country, or has it been done in the country? Or are we out in front?
Yeah,
others?
so I think other places have done things similar. We were focused on using an Esri product, so that's what we use for our mapping. So we wanted something that would integrate with that. So I found a couple examples out there. One was Chattanooga. They seem to do a really great job of having multiple different dashboards for different development types. So we looked to them, but then we customize it, based for our needs.
Thank you.
Commissioner La Espada.
Thank you. I'm not surprised to hear you say Chattanooga. I feel like they don't give enough credit. Google some of the innovative stuff happening. Right? That's a conversation to have. That's a book. But no, I really appreciate all of this. We've actually been talking about this in a few council committees about the difference between accessible and digestible data. There's a lot of data that the city puts out there. The data portal is great, but a lot of that, unless you have the software on your computer to digest it, sometimes we put out data that if the everyday Chicagoan doesn't have ArcGIS on their computer, it's absolutely pointless to them. So to have data out there that is illustrative, that's visual, that folks can wrap their minds around and draw conclusions from without needing a master's degree, like that has a real value to it. And I'm really grateful to see the city and DPD moving in that direction. So thank you all for the work, particularly Commissioner, your fingerprints are on this. So I'm really grateful for your leadership on it. Thank you.
Commissioner Reyes.
I want to echo what Commissioner Espada just said, but I want to say also that I would love to see there is an opportunity to have an indicator that shows actual building permits, because I've been told that a lot of the projects that we approve, especially those with affordable housing units in it, they don't get to be built. And I think it will be important for us to track that. So it will be amazing if we can go to 22, 23, so we can actually see what of those projects that were approved here that made me feel so happy, right? Then actually they did get built or they didn't, right? And I want to also say that this is an amazing tool that shows accountability and transparency, which I think that are two critical values that sometimes are lost within the city of Chicago. So I truly appreciate the efforts of the Department of Planning on this matter.
Thank you. Yeah, Commissioner Boatright.
Yeah, I just want to respond. I think you raised a really good point. We're working really, really closely with Commissioner Hopkins and DOB to make sure that we're capturing projects that come from Plan Commission, which ones have permits that are pulled. Because it's a great indicator, right? We want to make sure that these projects and the entitlements that we're approving actually lead to construction jobs, new units online, et cetera. And so that is something that we're working really closely with DOB to track for our specific projects.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Yeah, Commissioner Brooks and Commissioner Piñeiro.
And echoing Commissioner Reyes, kudos to DPD and Commissioner Boatright for putting forth a tool that has this level of accessibility and transparency. I think it's a really great tool and looking forward to its launch. The question that I have is, when you put data out, once you put data out there, there are then trends that might be exposed or identified. Have you thought about how this information will be utilized to maybe address certain trends that could come from the information?
I can respond to some of it. So we actually have been tracking this data since I've done this commission in March of 2020. So we have the data, we use it. I have to manually sort it every time a request comes in. So, every year at budget time, when all of our 50 great electeds ask what happened in my ward, what did we do? We have to provide yearly updates that parses this out. It's done manually. It's a real pain. It's labor intensive, and it's not really effective to get the numbers going quickly. So this will help us bring those searches quicker. It will highlight trends. I don't expect it to highlight any trends or anything that we haven't already been seeing from the data, but it will certainly, as you said, it's much more transparent. So there'll be a broader audience that can see the trends.
I think it's also important, Commissioner Boatright, I think it's also important to acknowledge while there's not new information from our perspective at DPD, it's certainly new information from external partners and residents. And so, for example, $11 billion in 2024 approved right here at this commission. What does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, once the additional information is uploaded for prior years, you'll see that $11 billion exceeds 2022 and 2023 combined. And so that means that we'll see more cranes in the sky. That means that we'll see more shovels in the ground. That means that we'll see more ribbons cut. That means that we'll be able to address some of the housing issues in terms of the lack of new development once those permits are pulled. And so while it may be very intuitive for us, we recognize that it may not be as intuitive to investors and developers and just regular Chicagoans that want to understand what does our pipeline look like. And so I appreciate your comment and again, the team's just hard work to be as transparent as possible to really showcase what we're seeing just in terms of the data tells a story. We got to do a better job of telling that story. And we're hopeful that this platform will certainly tell the story of the numbers that we're so familiar.
Commissioner Piñeiro.
Yeah, look, without repeating, wonderful, really kudos to the department. This is great. This is great news. Just question, do you know of any other source of information, private, federal government, or anything like that, that is tracking this level of economic activity and building activity right now? Or really we're breaking ground in terms of providing this information to the general public?
Yeah, I'm sure other places are doing things similar. I haven't found anything, this specific to, plan commissions. A lot of people track building permit data. That seems to be more common, but in terms of plan commission, entitlements, this seems to be definitely not the only one, but
In Chicago, so that's nationally. What about like in Chicago?
within the city.
Within the city?
So there is the data portal that has, for building permits, you can see some level of, there's some interactive features with the building permit set, but that is a much larger, data set.
There are a couple. So I know the Department of Transportation has a crash indicator dashboard. You can go and see crashes that are reported through that. Cook County Medical's office actually has all of those deaths that are recorded there. You can see those and search. Our FOIA log, we have a data portal for our FOIA log for requests that come in. It's just how you sort of specifically target the data through the Esri maps, through the online maps, and filter it. You can build these dashboards to be as intuitive as you want or as small or less restrictive as you want. It's how much work and customization you put into the
Yeah.
search features. Yeah.
I just bring it up because, I mean, this, let's keep it in mind again. This is very exciting, and modernizing the information that we're tracking. But this could become the source. This will become the source of information for this type of economic development and activity, at least in the city, going forward. So let's keep that in mind when we're thinking about that and the functionality of the application. This is great. Thank you very much.
I think something that I would love to see is tying this to the ordinance that we have in effect, right? With the local hiring, with minority participation requirements, if that, stays as is, but to follow through the whole process of the PDs and entitlements to that point, to share that data with the public as well.
So yes, this website will show the couple steps back. One, it's again, executive order, so that there's not the ability to put punitive damages on someone who doesn't meet those goals. But what this ordinance will do is what many of your colleagues have been asking me to do for a while now, particularly Commissioner LaSpada, is that this will now have an online source that you can touch an address and you can go back and see, you were in front of us last year with a project, Mr. Developer, you made this commitment. I know you didn't hit it. What are you going to do differently this time? And that'll be highlighted and spotlighted for all to see in a transparent manner that everyone can comb through the data how they want. So that helps get that information out there.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. Commissioner Brumfield?
Sorry, one last comment. And this is not to put DPD on the spot, but I would encourage the city to really promote this. Not just promote this in terms of the climate here in Chicago and the constituents here in Chicago, but also for the country as well. There is that perception that is the feeling that Chicago is not a good place to do business because projects come here to die through the quote process. And I think the more that we can actually talk about what's been approved here and find ways to even couple that, to your point, Commissioner Reyes, in terms of the building permits to show action, that will start to hopefully address some of the perceptions that's out there locally and nationally about the city. So whatever you feel is the right vehicle, I would really encourage you to really promote this aggressively and soon.
Thank you.
Questions, comments, anybody else? I do want to open it up to public speakers. We have George Blakemore signed up to speak on this last item.
Still here. Listening is fundamental also. With the technology, you have to monitor and see how many people are looking at your website. Millions of dollars are spent on these websites. You have to make them friendly to the people. And a lot of the older people, elder like me, they can't navigate the new technology. You must make it friendly and you must check constantly to see how many people are using this a website that you're setting up for this dashboard. Also, while sitting here, by my experience of 30 or 40 years coming in government, each one of you all get a stipend on this committee. A stipend. You're not volunteer. You're getting paid. A stipend. And when I see somebody from the park district, then come over here, they're getting a salary over there. And when they sit on this commission, they get another stipend. And that's the
Just to
same.
clarify that, because I can answer that, I get no stipend and many of us get no
young
stipend.
lady. Yes,
Just so
ma'am.
that's not,
Young
none of
lady,
us, none
young
of us.
lady.
I can speak for myself, none of us get a
What-
stipend.
Oh, not anybody here. Well, maybe the old commissioner, they did get one. And maybe this one
Never.
is strictly volunteer, but that's
Yes.
good.
On our own time.
See, I'm learning. Things have changed some. You don't get paid anything to sit on this
Nothing.
committee. But, well,
Not even
that's
coffee.
very good. That's very good. However, what I was saying back, you must make this friendly. where people could, and you must monitor that data to see how many people are coming in. And if you're not having a lot of people coming in, maybe you need to go back and critique it, because we have so many commissioners. So I go to so many meetings. So this particular one, you don't get a stipend. Everybody is volunteer here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I too am being educated, because I know on some of these committees and commissioners, they get paid. And this is strictly a volunteer. However, it can be a conflict when you are holding one job as an alternate, and then you come back and sit on the board. So I don't agree with that. So
Yeah. I hear the only one that gets a stipend is CBA, Zoning Board of Appeals. They're the only commission that gets a stipend. Mm-hmm. You wanna?
Mr. Blakemore, I will commit to you too. You know that I'm very accessible to you, and anytime you have questions on the map or anyone who has questions, my name appears on. Yeah, I just want to say that I'll be available. My name and numbers on the website. If there's any questions anyone ever has with accessing it or using it, they're free to call me, and we'll make sure that they work through it with them.
Thank you, Noah. Okay, so this was just an informational presentation, so no vote is necessary. We will now do roll call vote for adjourning. So this concludes this month's meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Commissioner Boatright, Commissioner Tillman. Roll call vote. Let's see who's still here. Boatright. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, Brumfield. Thank you, Carney. He left. Castañeda. Thank you. Flores, yes. Cadaquia. Thank you. La Espada. Thank you. Lyons. Thank you. Murphy. Thank you. Piñeiro.
Yes.
Thank you. Reyes.
Yes.
Thank you. And Tillman.
Yes.
Thank you. This month's meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission is now adjourned at 12:07. One of the
Great time.
shortest ones. Thank you.
Great time. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can have lunch at a regular time.
Yeah, yeah.
No, right. No stipend for lunch, but we can.